Why are so many people leaving Florida, the Sunshine State, right now? We'll dive into this topic in today's video. Despite Florida's population growing by about 5% in recent years, with people still moving in, I've noticed a shift in attitudes towards Florida during the COVID-19 pandemic more than ever before. We saw a huge influx to Florida, but now the situation's completely different. Let's begin. Why are many people's dreams in Florida turning into nightmares? Is it the inevitable march of rising housing costs that prevent families from settling down? Or is it a growing fear of destructive hurricanes that makes residents feel like easy targets? Perhaps it's the suffocating traffic or overcrowded schools, or the intense political divide that's driving people away. In this eye-opening study, we delve deep into the heart of Florida's migration issues. We'll examine the challenges facing Florida and the potential consequences for its future. Join us as we uncover the truth behind why so many people are leaving Florida. Welcome to GeoStory. The first reason driving people to leave Florida is the rising cost of living. For a long time, Florida has been associated with the American dream, sunshine, beaches, and endless opportunities. But for many people, this dream is quickly fading away and being overshadowed by harsh realities. The harsh reality is that the rising cost of living and housing has turned homes that were once affordable into luxury items. Families who dreamed of owning a piece of the Sunshine State now find themselves priced out of the market. But it's not just home ownership that's become a financial burden. Renters are also feeling the pressure. Apartments that were once considered reasonably priced are now being rented at exorbitant rates. With wages failing to keep pace, many are finding it increasingly difficult to make ends meet. Beyond housing, the cost of daily living is also on the rise. Prices for groceries, utilities, and even gas are putting pressure on family budgets. Families are making tough choices and cutting back on essentials to meet their needs. And let's not forget insurance. Premiums for homeowners and auto insurance have risen dramatically, adding another financial burden on residents. For those living in coastal areas, the risk of hurricanes makes insurance even more expensive, forcing many to question whether it's worth the cost. The rising cost of living is a complex issue with far-reaching consequences. It's forcing people to make difficult decisions about where to live, how to spend their money, and even whether they'll stay in Florida. As we continue to explore why people are leaving the Sunshine State, it's clear that the financial burden is a major factor driving this migration from Florida. The second reason is natural disasters and climate change. Florida, a state famous for its pristine beaches and warm climate, has become a battleground between humans and nature. Increasingly, the specter of natural disasters fueled by climate change casts its long shadow over the Sunshine State. Hurricanes, which were once viewed as occasional visitors, have become more frequent and fierce. These massive storms bring with them devastating winds, heavy rains, and destructive storm surges. The economic and emotional toll on residents and businesses is enormous. The insurance industry is being squeezed under pressure. High premiums and dwindling coverage options are forcing many homeowners to make difficult choices. Some are even opting to leave the state entirely to escape the financial burden, in addition to the hurricanes. The continuous rise in sea levels poses a significant threat to Florida's communities. Beaches are eroding, and the encroachment of salt water is contaminating freshwater supplies. The value of beachfront properties is declining. The effects of climate change are also evident in other extreme weather events. Heat waves are becoming more intense and long-lasting. Floods caused by heavy rainfall and rising sea levels have become a regular occurrence, putting pressure on the elderly and vulnerable population. These events disrupt life and damage property, leading to regular disruptions and financial losses. The cumulative impact of these natural disasters is forcing many Floridians to reconsider their future in the state, fearing the loss of everything in a single storm. Additionally, the uncertainty surrounding rising sea levels makes it increasingly difficult to feel safe. Third, we need to consider overcrowding and infrastructure issues. Florida's appeal as a sunny retirement destination and playground for young professionals has led to massive population growth. While this influx of new residents has boosted the economy, it has also put enormous pressure on the state's infrastructure and quality of life. The huge number of people flocking to Florida has created a strain on resources that the state is struggling to meet. Schools, hospitals, and public transportation systems are overwhelmed. Wait times for basic services are increasing and residents are feeling frustrated. One of the most obvious symptoms of overcrowding is traffic congestion. Major cities like Miami, Orlando, and Tampa have become notorious for their gridlock. Commuters spend hours each day stuck in traffic. This affects their productivity and mental health and the overall quality of life. The economic consequences of traffic congestion are also significant. Companies struggle to attract and retain employees, and tourism, a vital industry for Florida, can be negatively affected. The state's infrastructure is under pressure due to increased strain from heavy traffic. In addition to traffic issues, overpopulation has led to a crisis even in housing. Rental prices and property values have risen dramatically, making it increasingly difficult for young families and working-class residents to find affordable housing. This, in turn, has put additional pressure on schools and social services. As Florida continues to grow, addressing the challenges of overcrowding and infrastructure will be crucial. Investing in public transportation, expanding schools, and finding innovative solutions to the housing crisis are essential to maintain the quality of life and economic vitality of the state. However, without careful planning and investment, the dream of living in Florida could become a nightmare for many. The fourth reason is the Florida job market. Florida's economy is a complex tapestry woven with threads of prosperity and struggle, while the state boasts a thriving tourism industry and a booming real estate market. Many residents find it increasingly difficult to cover their expenses. The discrepancy between the cost of living and wages is a pressing issue. While Florida offers a desirable lifestyle, the reality is that many, especially in the service industry, are paid less than a living wage. This means countless workers are struggling to afford housing, food, and healthcare. The lack of high-paying jobs in sectors outside of tourism and real estate presents another challenge. While these industries generate significant revenue, they are vulnerable to economic downturns and seasonal fluctuations. This leaves many Florida residents susceptible to job insecurity. The over-reliance of Floridians on tourism and real estate has made them particularly vulnerable to economic shocks. For example, the COVID-19 pandemic had a devastating impact on the state's economy, leading to widespread job losses. To create a more resilient economy, Florida needs to invest in education and workforce development. By equipping the population with the skills needed for in-demand jobs, the state can reduce its dependence on low-wage sectors. Moreover, creating a business-friendly environment that attracts diverse industries is crucial for long-term economic growth. The gap between the cost of living and wages, along with a lack of economic diversity, is a significant factor pushing people away from Florida. As the state continues to grow, addressing these challenges will be crucial to ensure a prosperous future for all residents. Florida, once a beacon of the American dream, now faces a crossroads with an increasing list of challenges to its appeal as the Sunshine State and its seemingly endless economic opportunities. From the ever-rising cost of living to the growing threat of natural disasters, residents are making tough decisions about their future. Overcrowding, strained infrastructure, and a job market that doesn't always deliver are adding to the pressure. Florida's story isn't over yet. The state's resilience and ability to reinvent itself can't be ignored, but with more and more people choosing to leave, the question remains: can Florida adapt and thrive, or will it be forever changed by this mass exodus? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications.